Here we go again with another video for Wusik Station 10 coding. And I fixed a lot of stuff and changed the behavior of a few things with the mouse because it was not working the way I wanted. So now I have my amplitude envelope here all working correctly. The display is also working correctly. You move the mouse fast, it maxes out the value and also goes to the minimum value if I move fast down. So it's a nice bonus. I was having problems with the top buttons here because the mouse was getting stuck here on the top and not moving too much if I move the mouse down. So I made a very important change to the code. When I click the button here and start moving, the mouse actually goes to the center of the window or the screen in this case. So I have much more movement up and down. So I can quickly change from maximum to minimum very fast or just move the mouse slowly and it changes too. And now the parameter display, the one that shows on the bottom of the parameters, is now a global thing. So it's not part of the knob anymore. The menus are working correctly. Page up, page down. Everything seems to be working much nicer now. I added the button here for the linear exponential. And I still have to figure out how I'm going to do the tooltips. So I don't know yet how I'm going to do that. Maybe I'm going to make it part of the parameter display code and just show for a brief moment and only when you leave the mouse over a parameter. So now that's working much better. One thing I forgot to add back. 5 is going to 10. I have a small aquarium next to me with a betta fish. Here we call beta. And it's trying to jump outside, but it's all covered, so he can't do that. One time he was able to get outside half of the head, and I found him and put it back, and was still alive. Those fishes can sustain a very long time outside of the water. It's very impressive, actually. So anyway, now let me see. Finish the knob code to allow buttons to be created. So it should be working correctly now. It checks for how many frames are in the image file. So if it's just 2 frames, it's a button. If not, it's a knob. So it's a very simple solution. This menu is going to be for the mid-learn stuff. I haven't coded that yet. I'm just testing. But I should really do the tooltip code. And what I'm going to do, need a counter for that. Let me put some sort of counter. Tooltip counter, I guess. -1 is going to be off. Oh, sorry. I had to sneeze. Sorry about that. I hope it wasn't too loud. Or maybe it didn't capture. Okay, I have a tooltip counter, and I know it's 10 microseconds for every frame that is drawn. So can check here at the top of my stuff here. Is it? Can check in here. Tooltip counter. If tooltip counter not -1, -1 is going to be it already showed, and now I can rest. So if component over not null, it means that the mouse is on top of a component. So it should start counting. If -1 is going to be 0, I think one not the correct way to do it. So if the mouse is on top of something, think on how I'm going to handle that. So every time it's not on top of something, set to 0. Something. Then you're going to have another one. This one should also be 0. So if tooltip counter is higher than I have a value stored somewhere, I just have to check. Higher tip counter, and if not show tooltip, to that. And if it's not over anything, tooltip is false. Be showing tooltip. And then I can check. Let me see if it's on the data files. Tooltip time. I just have to check what sort of time it's using. Using microseconds. That should work. So now I need another text element. I think I'm showing below the display value, or if there is no display value, I just show on the place of the display value. But I want a smaller box to separate from the display value and the label. so you know it's a tooltip. Usually it's just a black square. So now I need to create another guy. We have the display component, and then you have the text element, text text component actually. Going to be tool tip component. Just want to double check something here. No, no. The widgets. When I created my new code for the display value, okay, I'm using scoped pointer, which deletes itself automatically. So when it's the destruct the variables gets the destroyed, deleted. So okay, I have my tooltip component. I have to create that. Maybe I'm going to use another display component instead, because that way I can have a image that goes below it, and then the text. Let's do that like that. Tooltip component, and I can create a simpler image for the tooltip background. One thing I was thinking about somewhat. Can make it in a way that's a bit different. Let's try a few things. First, let me try reducing the size of the line considerably. That way. Can copy a few things in here. Sorry about that, my throat time. Something around that. Just an idea for now. Copy a larger area. Come on. By 1 pixel. Okay. I'm also going to make it bit smaller because the tooltips should be not so wide. Maybe I'm going to do try something. Get this guy has the transparency and the shadow. Okay. And I can hide the shadow a bit behind it. Just so it looks a bit lower in the screen. Should work. And now I can reduce this the height of the thing. And as for the width, I'm going to make it stretch the middle area for the width. So it should look okay. As the font is going to be a bit smaller. So it should look good now. Let's draw this guy. And now let's determine where the pink lines are going to be. So since I changed the size, I can see there's already a bit of a mess. Let's do fine. Try that here. This way is just easier to handle. So that should be the area for the text, but also determines that this area on the middle is going to be stretched. Here, for that, for 5 pixels. Pixels should be that should be centered. Now let's save this as a tooltip file. Going to look on that. Kind of small. If it's too small, I can change it later. It's not a problem. So let me save now the tooltip file and then the pink file. Then I have to process the skin. This is going to be the tooltip PNG. So it's just one file. And another one for the pink lines. going to going to work great. I'll just have to create another component. Let's go to my data files. Last one was the on-off small button. If I'm not mistaken, I have another one that's bigger. Medium. Just to check. I'm not going to put it there for now. I'm going to put my tooltip here. Tip. And I look for this guy to see where I need to put the information so the skin creates the proper stuff. Tooltip. This guy. And I have to create with pink lines. Yeah, don't bother about that. Okay, that seems to be okay. I'll just have to check where I'm adding all the pointers and stuff. So tip top left, top middle, top right, left top, left middle, left bottom, total. And now I have to define this. Try to remember where this gets created. Ah, here. Two tips total. Trying to remember now how many positions is going to create. If I'm not mistaken, for the top, yeah, the top it creates just one position, so it's just top. And then the left top, the left middle, and the left bottom. Oh, I forgot to do that. The most important thing. It should be 4. Now I have to calculate this. Two tip or is two tips? No, just two tips. Two tip pink, and it's going to calculate the positions of the file. Now I can create my two tip component without much problems. Just have to create another option in my widget for the parameter value, the display value actually. Stretch the center image. Would work out. Now let's create that guy. Around here. Cool. And create in there. I create the component. That's the right image and the right positions file. And now I had to set the size. But since this size is going to change all all the time, because for every tooltip is going to be a different size, I'm just going to start with 100 size. Well, the height can be always the the height of the cached they call right height. Just the width that it's going to change. There is no background. Now I have to create the value display text and font, but in this case for the tooltip. Let's see, already created something here. Remove and copy from this guy. Just change the size of the font. Tooltip display text, tooltip display font. Text is going to be white for now. The font is going to be a bit smaller. Something I will have to test it out. And I also need to include here 23 equals to tip. Is on the bottom area. Tooltip 3 tip should create now. Just for the sake, I'm going to delete my cached files. Just like to do like that. Now here instead of value is going to be tooltip display, tooltip display font. So now I have my tooltip file component. So now I have to check my widget because it doesn't allow me to change the size of the text. So let's check the text component. Change size. Or just update size. I think update size, and then it's going to create. Let me check now if I have to delete these guys. Yes, I have to delete them. Delete and zero the sprite and then the decal. Double check here. Sprite, the decal, they are not scoped pointers, so I have to delete when I update the size. That should work out. Actually, should always delete the decal first. If I'm not mistaken. It's the right order to delete. So now I have the update size option. Maybe I could add an option to pass a new size to the update size. Resize, auto resize. Let's use that. So when I update the text has changed. Retake the text has changed. Then I'm going to check that in the render process. Text component. Menu. Component. If text has changed. So if auto resize, then I have to check what's going to be. Try to remember now. There is an option. Check the size. You can feel Check. I have to check on other code. I'm going to do this later, but at least it's partially there already. So I have my two component tip. One thing I want to check now is if my parameters already has the tooltips. If I'm not mistaken, it should have. Go to the knob here. Parameter tooltip. Yes, it's there. Just want to double check this guy to see what's the default value. If it's like null pointer or something like that. So I can do a string to that. I'm going to give me an empty string if it's not being used. So now I can check on I have my tooltip component. Check on my here. It's time to show the tooltip. The thing is, I should done this. I need to do this last so it shows on top of everything. Let me remove this from here. Put near the bottom of the drawing area. Starts drawing here the items. It draws everything, process everything. Draws the layers, the partial top area. And yes, that's the place I should add this. Div component here in that's going to show it's time to show, and it's going to hide as soon as you move the mouse or something is redrawn. But I have to double check. Div component is going to be text component, update text, then I can get the component over parameter is part of knob. Okay, so let me make this part of the component. It's just much easier to handle. If it's a null pointer, I know it's not a knob or anything that shows a tooltip. Because to show tooltip, you need a parameter. So, not pointer. Already have the parameter, so should be parameter tooltip string for that. String the parameter tooltip is not empty. And that's a lot of stuff. So I update the text. I also need to update the size and position. But first, I just want to see how this is going to look like. And I want to compute the skin again to create the proper tooltip file. Because I want to check the size and everything. So now it's going to handle that. Get some water again. It's getting larger by the day. A lot of files. I want to check the size of everything now. Tip file. It's crashing something. Okay. Put the wrong thing there. We I put it on the wrong place. Let me check what's the number again. Data files. I put before the on and off knob. So is there. It's 22 then 23. 22 the tooltip, 23 that one. 22, 23. Put this in right order. Some are not in the right order, but it's not a big deal. Delete this guys up again and do over. Sometimes it stops updating this processing scheme. This is another thing I want to double check why. Not a total big deal because it's just me and mostly that's going to be using that, so that's okay, I guess. I need to fix this crash, but it should be easy to find. So the tooltip is in here. Smaller area there for this the shadow. Display text. Let's see. A font. Okay. They're both correct. What's going on now? It's probably some parameter that is incorrect. So before I start debugging this, I'm just going to comment out a few things. To give me an idea what's going on. That something is broken. And now I have to find out what. A lot of stuff. I think it's this guy. Starting to think that I used an enumerator 2 times. Two, yeah, but that's correct. I'll use it like that, so it couldn't be that especially. Oops, top, middle, bottom, total. Middle, bottom, total. See what I'm using. Oh, let's fire up the debugger. Hope to find out what I can see here. Object should be correct. I'm losing my voice. Okay, let me fire up the guy. Grab the process. As soon as you hit OK, I'm going to open up the window. Up and crashes. Right is crash. Oh, the update size is crashing. I kind of have an idea what's going on. This guy here is not working. Oh, of course. Not going to work at all. Let me check if the decal is set to null pointer. Yes, it's set. So it was that. There's some small stuff. Just another day of fun. I think I'm going to stop again because of my voice. It's getting cold here and it's raining, so maybe it's affecting my voice. I don't know. Come on, guy. Behave. Okay, let's put back the coder. Remove it. It's creating the tooltip and then where I actually update it, which is in here. I'm pretty sure it's not going to work the way I want, but I'll have to tweak the code to make it work. Because I'm not setting the size, I'm not resizing the width, I'm not doing anything like that. So let me think of which one has a tooltip. I don't remember which one has. And best way to do is just to get the multi-line envelope here, check for the tooltips. And just for the fun, let's do it like that. Station 10, I'm going to add tooltip for the linear. Exponential. I don't know if that's correct, but let's Google. Who is a friend? Exponential curve. Because in Portuguese you say like that. That's why I wrote like that. Let's see if it's going to do something now. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Um, this I remove it. There's another thing I have to fix for it was going to work. Update update screen. Otherwise, it has nothing to draw to the screen. It's not going to draw the tooltip component. That way, the loop that is used seconds I'm using tooltip. 1 second. Oh, and I also need to reset the tooltip counter when the mouse moves. Not happening. Component over parameter is not null. Not showing anything. Well, maybe it's not getting the right stuff there, but I'm passing the parameter. I'm pretty sure. Let me check my. Here. Envelope linear. It's the right parameter for the amplitude envelope. Weird. But anyway, let me do something here. I need to check where the mouse gets moves again. Let's move it. Country 0. If not going tooltip. Otherwise, I need to hide the tooltip. Well, it's going to be a bit of testings to get this right. Check. Because I need to hide the tooltip as soon as I move the mouse. because as soon as it paints the tooltip, not ah, I know why. Well, could be that I'm not doing the check as often. Good. Instead of 1 second was going to take 10 seconds without the plus 10. 1 second. Okay. Second. As soon as I move the mouse again, not go, it's going to show after 1 second. Oh, it's good. Still not perfect. I still have to like not show again if I move just slightly on top of the same component. Oh, I want to check something. I want to check if the string actually has the tooltip in it for the envelope exponential and linear. If it shows something linear or exponential curve. Okay, so it is getting the the right stuff there. Parameter is not null. Parameter tip is not empty. The next step is to show in the correct place, which I'm still thinking about. And I will have to shut down because there's some thunderstorm coming out. But thanks for watching, as always, and see you next time.